Good evening, friends. Welcome to the BISP Solutions. This is Raj Bhatt, and today we will walk through a core task in PBCS, that is loading data. While we have manual entry forms, loading large data sets from external systems is much more efficient. We will use a feature called data management, which acts as our ETL, that is extract, transform, and load tool. So first we need to find out its setups as well as we need to find out its steps that how it works. So first thing is that setting up the flat file. So first we will use and first we will find out its steps. What are the steps which are needed for loading the data? So I can write it here with using expression. This is our main thing, that using expression we will see that how the things will go smoothly. So for this, again I will open the pane so that concept would be more clear to you. So here we find out data loading, data loading, using expression. The steps are quite similar, but small things are slightly changed will be there on it. So step first we'll setting up the file, that is the flat file, the flat file. It is very important step. So first let's look at our source data, and this file is a simple CV file. The first row is a header, the columns represent a dimension, accounts, period, year, scenario, version, entity, and the data value. So you have to keep in mind the file should be in the simple CSV file, that is comma separated value. So what are the things that you need to follow? It is, I mentioned it, the file should be in simple CSV. Should and simple CSV. Rather I would say .csv. Then the second step that we have to follow, that is step 2. Is navigating to the data management. So first, like we have discussed the setting up the flat file. So the key is that the column headers in our file must match the dimension in our application. This is what data management uses to map the data correctly. If they don't match, we will need to create a mapping. So here you can go and we can find out. We will go to the navigator flow. Here we will find out all the setups is here. So firstly we will simply open the data management and we will just work upon it. So here we have the data management, and what we have to do, we are supposed to click on the setup. and here we can click on the import format, and all the setups is already ready, and only the thing is that we have to do a couple of mouse clicks and we have to enter the expression under it. So this is how the data loading would be go smoothly, and how we will perform it simultaneously with data management loading system. So just save your file with descriptive name like to 2024 actual load CSV. And now the step to what we have to find out, that is navigating to the data management. As we have already discussed, what we have to do, we have to navigating to the data management, navigating to the data management. The next thing we will find out, earlier we have discussed all the topics, so here we will come to know that what are the main things we have to cover. So navigating, step second is navigating to data management, like from PBCS homepage, click on the navigator icon, scroll down to the integration section and click the data management. This takes you to the data management workbench where we will be working in the workflow tab. Next thing, step third, very important. It is creating an import format. Here we will create an import format, and what are the minute changes that we have to consider. It is before we can load, we need to tell the system what our file looks like, and we do this by creating an import format. Just simply go to the setup tab and click import format. So here I can mention the steps, that is sub steps, that how it will perform the similar step of data loading. Now go to the source system or the setup tab. Setup tab. And click import format. The next sub steps is click the add button and give it a name like load actual files. So give it a name like actual file. Then select the file as the source tab. You will find out the things. Select the file as the source type. So the target will be your PBCS application name. Remember that the target should be the PBCS application. You are not supposed to take any another column or any another application, so that you can load the data very smoothly into the instance. So now for mappings, this is where we tell the data management which column in our file corresponds to which dimensions in the application. So like show the mapping interface. So for account dimensions, select the account column for your file. So we have to keep consider that what kind of system we have to remember and what kind of things we are keeping in mind and what the steps we will go to follow during data loading. So like under this I can mention it simply, like for account dimension, I'm just taking the example. This will help you a lot during the data loading. So select the account column from your file. Whatever the column number would be there, you are supposed to enter on that specific input format target, so that it will go easily to the instance and it will not create a chaos during the data loading. So for account dimension, select the account column. Account column from your file. This is how you will just load the data smoothly on the instance and how it will impact the full structure of the data on the system. The next step that we have to follow is like for period thing also we have to do the same thing. Like for period, select the period column. It is just an example I have given, exemplification I have given you. So and so on for the year, scenario, version and the entity. So for the data itself, select the data value column and map it to amount field. This is how you will do the things, and just simply click on the save. Nothing else you have to do. So step 4, very crucial. Don't forget this. Step 4 is creating the location, the location. So how you will create the location, that's the fascinating part of this instance. So next we create a location to tie the import format to our application. Just go to the setup and click on the location. Like I can also mention the steps here, that what are the steps you have to follow during the data loading and the creating location system. So just click on add button and give it a name like actuals load or the location. So you're not supposed to give the free as well as a space or the file between the names, so that it will go simultaneously, gradually starts. It will takes the system names into the instance easily. So click on the add and give it a name like actuals. So I can give some example. Name should be like actuals load, then location. So this kind of name you have to give, and it should be appropriate. It should be matched towards your file, and it should not be like a vague name, that whatever the name you are giving, and any which name is not inappropriate, which is not suitable for the file. So sometimes the professional even do these mistakes. So you are not supposed to do these all mistakes. So be aware of these mistakes. Then select the import format. So we just created from the drop down, the source and the target system will auto populate. Then what you have to do, you have to select the import format. and then click on save. Click on the save. Step 5 is creating data load rule. Creating data load rule. So now for the final piece, the data load rule. This is the script that tells data management to execute the load. Go to the workflow and click data load rule. This is how you will create the things. Select the location you just created from drop down and click add. Give it a name like load actual rule, or on the data load rule tab, make sure the source system or the tab is set to the file. Click save. So this is how you have to create the data load rule on it. What I have mentioned you now for the final piece, like what you have to do or supposed to do, just this is a script that tells data management to execute the load. Go to the workflow and click data load rule. Just select the location you just created from the drop down and click add. Here also you have to give the name that is, it should be appropriate, like load actual rules. So like on the data load rule tab, make sure the source tab is set to file and just click on the save button. It's so simple as it looks. So I will not mention any, the steps, sub-steps here. Only small things you have to keep in mind. Now on step 6, that is executing the data load rule. So we are ready to load the data on the data load rule tab. So click on the execute button. What is the second step? Next step, executing the data load rule. A pop-up window will appear. Select import format and import from source and export to the target. Just click the execute button. Then for the file name, click the upload button. For the file name, click the upload button. Upload button 2024. Actual load CSV file from your computer. Then specify the start period, and the end period. for the data you are loading, and then just click on the run. Click on the run. And then monitor the load. The last step is so easy. You have to monitor the load. Monitor the load. That is step 8. Very crucial and pivotal. So you will see a process ID, click OK. When you will do the practical things, you will see the process ID and just click on the OK. So last step is to monitoring the road. You will see process ID and click on the OK. Then go to the process details screen, and also under the workflow tab you can monitor the status of your load here. A green check mark means it's complete and successful. That's how you will load the data using expressions. So we also need to understand the setting of security in PBCS. So security in PBCS is a multi-layered model designed to ensure that users have access only to the data and functionality they need that combines both predefined roles and custom access permission. So what is predefined application roles? These are high-level roles that grant users access to specific areas of the application, and they are assigned by the administrator in the PBCS console. So like service administrator has full administrative rights to the environment. You can also look into that by clicking on the data management. You can see the things. The system maintenance task is also there. Even under the setup, we have the security settings. So this is how we will just secure the system. So what is the use of it? Here we will following as well as managing the things, like it will access the manager. Can manage user access to application artifacts but not data. So application, it will include it. So application administrator manages the PBCS application including dimension, business rules and the forms. What is the role of user here? User can input and view data on forms and dashboards they have access to. The planner similar to a user but with additional privileges such as the ability to submit data. Even the viewer can only view data and forms but cannot enter modified data. The second thing is that dimension and the data access security. So this is the most granular level of security and controls what data a user can see and modify. It is typically a setup within the application itself. So what is member access? So this is defined on the dimensions of the application. A user is granted specific access rights to individual members or entire hierarchies. No access. So what is no access? The users cannot see or interact with the member. Even the read, also the privilege is there, whatever you can just find out on it. So the users can see data associated with his member. Then write. The user can read and enter modify data for this member. The last thing is that none. The user is denied all access to this member. So how the security filters work here? You might have in doubt, perhaps you have a little bit knowledge about it, but we have to go in the deeper sides. So for a large scale data access control, security filters are used. Filters, what is filter? This is a simple thing. Like we have the filters everywhere, and how we just use it in the Excel. It is similar. So a filter is a combination of dimension members that defines a specific data slice. For example, a filter might grant a user right access to USA entity, an actual scenario, and the gen period. Then the last thing we have to find out. You can see here what are the rules. Create integration, run integration. The location security is also here. If you want to create the location security, you are supposed to create on the head icon. This is how it will create the location security. Even we also have the option for disable location security as well as maintain user group. You can see on the screen. The option is right there. And then under the view, we have the columns, detach, reorder columns. That's how it works. Form and identificate security. Just go to the role security and view. So the layer controls access to specific forms, dashboards, and the business rules. Like form access, you can restrict which users or group can open and interact with a specific form. A user without access to a form will not even see it in the navigation. Then business rule. Administrator can grant execute permission for specific business rules to individuals, user or groups. This allows the user to run calculation or data load process without needing full administrative rights. So I hope you are enjoying the learning. That's how it is. The thing is fascinating. The data management is really a comprehensive approach that we have to follow. It is really marvelous. If you will put some interest, automatically you will able to learn the things. Then the best practices you have to be aware about the best practices that what you have to take. The first thing is that use groups. Instead of assigning security to users, create a group like US Planner, Finance Manager, and assign security to those groups. This simplifies the administration, as you only need to add or remove users from a group rather than managing individual security settings. The another thing is least privilege. What is least privilege? You might have in doubt. So follow the principle of least privilege, like grant users the minimum level of access required to perform their jobs. Don't give users right access if they only need to read the data. This is how you will go to the things. And then inheritance. Understand how security inheritance works. Like if permissions set on a parent member in a dimension hierarchy automatically flow down to all children. You can override this inheritance for specific child members if needed. So this is how it will work. So this is the best practices for the security sector. You have to keep in mind. You have to be considered. So be aware about these mistakes. Some mistakes I have told you even in the previous session where we have see on this. In the previous session we have discussed many things. Like here we have discussed the steps of loading multi-currency. Here we have discussed the same thing. What are the steps we have to keep in mind? Steps in loading trial balance. That's how the steps we have taken to flow the data management process so smoothly. Only the small things you have to keep in mind, and then just see the results, see the automation results, how it will foster the leaning IT cost. So this was all about the data management and today's expression. So what we did today, we did the two things, that is data loading through various expression. The second thing we have discussed, as well as we have thrown some light on setting up the security. So this is my favorite topic, setting up the security, because it is very crucial. You should understand its importance and the significance. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any doubt, so you can ask it on the comment without any hesitation. Thanks for watching the videos.